So I had a client recently. Let's just call him Alex for the purposes of protecting his identity. Who sat across from me on a Zoom call on one of our sessions and said, "Danny, I think I messed up. We opened our relationship because I didn't want to lose him, but now I am losing myself through that process." And here's the thing, that isn't rare. In fact, I've heard some versions of this story more times than I can count. And now listen, I'm a monogamous person. I've always been a monogamous person. That is how I am hardwired. But that isn't a judgment, right? This isn't a judgment zone. I work with plenty of gay and bi men who are in open relationships and they are thriving in that relationship. But I've also seen many who thought opening the relationship would fix something when it actually exposed a lot of wounds that had not been dealt with. So today we are talking openly about open relationships, the good, the hard, and the real, especially through the lens of the gay community, where this topic hits a little bit differently. I think it's a hot button topic for a lot of people, which is why I want to have this conversation about it. And here's the honest truth that no one is saying out loud. Open relationships come with a manual most people have not read. In the gay community, there is this unspoken narrative that monogamy is outdated, or that exclusivity equals insecurity, or repression, or suppression. But I'll say it, that's bullshit. It's not true. Healthy monogamy is just as valid as healthy non-monogamy. But problems happen when people start choosing open relationships out of fear. Fear of rejection, fear of boredom, fear of being too much or not enough in their relationship. That's not conscious polyamory. That's not conscious open relationships. That's emotional outsourcing. And it's very important that if you are somebody who has considered an open relationship before, or find yourself in an open relationship when maybe you didn't want to be, or it's not necessarily working, you did it because you were afraid you were going to lose your significant other or the relationship, then probably something that you want to listen to all the way through. So let's break down a few real challenges that I have seen in coaching. The first one is using an open relationship as a Bandaid if you are not emotionally connected, if communication is already off, if there is resentment building in the relationship. Opening the relationship is not going to solve that. I'm just being honest. It's not. I've seen it time again. And you may think that it will, but I'm telling you that it is not, based on my experience. And maybe a very small percentage of people are able to make it work. But if there's already major cracks in the foundation of the relationship, the likelihood of opening the relationship and things improving are not very high, right? It'll just throw more complexity on the foundation that is already shaky. The second thing is avoiding jealousy instead of working through it. You know, I've coached men who said, we opened up because I didn't want to be controlling. I didn't want to feel like I was the controlling one in the relationship. But then jealousy kicks in. And instead of processing that feeling, they suppress it until it explodes. The third thing is performing openness for acceptance. Some of you feel like you have to say you're open on dating apps just to be considered. That's not empowerment in any way. That's just conformity dressed up as liberation. And it's truly not. You know, if you are not somebody who considers yourself to be an open relationship kind of person, do not advertise yourself that way. It's only going to mess you up in the long term. Now, there's some nuance to this, right? I've seen open relationships that are beautiful, that there's deep trust. There's rules that have been created. There's ongoing emotional check-ins. There's no secrecy, no ambiguity, but they work because they were built with intention. They work because it was two consenting adults who wanted this, truly truly wanted this, and they felt it was the right thing for themselves as individuals and for their relationship, and they had a conversation about it, and they came to an agreement. And here's the thing. If your relationship can't survive a hard conversation about boundaries, about trust, about sexual needs, it's not going to be ready for an open relationship. If you can't have a candid conversation with your partner about what you want or what you need, even in the bedroom, the likelihood of you having a successful open relationship is not going to be very high. So if you're thinking about opening your relationship, I want you to ask yourself something. Are we both genuinely curious, or is one of us afraid to say no? Have we processed the past hurt, or are we bypassing it? Do we have clear agreements? And do we both feel safe in saying that, you know what, this isn't working anymore? The thing about open relationships is that essentially it's kind of like a contract that you're signing, and contracts are renegotiable. So you may say to yourself, sure, I'm open to the idea of an open relationship, and you try it and it's just not for you. You have the ability and the full autonomy to say, no, I don't want this anymore, and have that conversation with your partner. Because the truth is, no relationship model, open, monogamous, poly, whatever it is, will work if it's built on fear or if it's built on silence, right? And let me be clear about something. You're not wrong for wanting monogamy. If you are somebody who does want monogamy, you're not outdated. You're not boring. Wanting deep, committed love isn't a flaw. It's a freaking strength. And if you're someone who felt shamed or ashamed for that in our community, I see you. There are plenty of people out there who see you as well. And if you're navigating an open relationship and trying to do it with honesty and care, I respect you. I 100% respect you. Whatever relationship structure works for you is whatever relationship structure works for you. And I know people are going to get upset and be like, choose a side, pick. Do you want monogamy? Do you want open relationships? And as I said, for myself, I'm a monogamous person. I know that about myself. So when I was dating, that's exactly what I was looking for. And if somebody wanted to open a relationship, hey, I respect you. I understand, but that's just not my thing. I'm not going to sit here and judge people who are in an open relationship and say that they are the primary issue in the gay community and why the gay community is falling apart. It's deeper than that. There are deeper issues. And I'm not saying that people who have open relationships have deep issues. I'm saying there are other things that play a factor in the issues that we have within the gay community. Lack of vulnerability, lack of honesty, trauma, all these different things that create a larger population of people who have difficulty trusting, who have difficulty committing, who have difficulty being their authentic selves because they don't know who they are, because they've been wearing masks their entire lives. So I don't believe that open relationships are the issue, but for a lot of couples who go into an open relationship, it's because they're trying to fix a deeper issue that oftentimes needs to be looked at and reflected on before they decide to get into an open relationship. This isn't about sides. This is about integrity, right? So if this brought something up for you, good. That's what these conversations are for. That's why I'm on here. That's why I'm having these talks with you. That's why I work with men day in and day out who are struggling emotionally, mentally, with their relationships and their mindset and those kinds of things. And maybe this is your moment to have that overdue check-in with your partner, or maybe it's time to admit that what you've agreed to doesn't actually feel good anymore for you. And if you're in that space and you want help navigating it, I got you. I work with couples and individuals on this exact topic. And sometimes all it takes is having someone in the room who isn't emotionally entangled, but deeply invested in your growth as individuals and as partners. So I will leave a link in the description of this episode for a one-on-one coaching. It'll be a link to a free 20-minute discovery call. Let's figure out where you're at, what the problems are, if there's a way of resolving them, and come up with a plan moving forward. Also, please make sure you're leaving a comment if this resonated with you. Let's keep this space real. Let's keep it supportive. Let's keep it honest, because trust me, if you have ever struggled with this stuff, you are not alone. You're not. And remember, no matter what kind of relationship you choose, Choose you first. That is one of the most important things. Please make sure you are liking and sharing this video with somebody who you feel could use it today. Make sure you are subscribing. If you found the information to be helpful, click that subscribe button, click the notification bell so you know whenever a new video comes out. And I will see you in the next video. Hope you're having an amazing day. And yeah, I'll see you later.